And we're back. I want to ask you a question. Do you remember many years ago there was a series on television called Kung Fu with David Carradine? Remember that? And he was like a priest that walked around everywhere he went, even in the winter months. He was barefoot, and he could do incredible things with his hands. Well, a lot of what you saw was pure fiction, I promise you. On the other hand, we have a very special guest today who's involved in both Tai Chi Kung Fu and has an academy here in Tulsa and is striving for internal peace and strength rather than breaking boards. And his name is Rick Thomas, Shifu Rick Thomas. Rick, it's good to have you, my friend.
Thank you, Sam. That was quite an introduction. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm a Kung Fu master, Tai Chi and Kung Fu, but my background in education and in service to our community is also in social work and psychology.
Well, your reputation is way out in front of you, buddy, because lots of folks know about you, a lot of folks listen to you, and apparently you're very gifted at helping people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all that sort of thing. And I'm not talking down to it. I'm saying I'm in awe of it. Yeah. How did you get launched on that path from Tai Chi Kung Fu?
A long but short story is that with my education, I found out that education is very limited. And when I was a novice in Chinese martial arts, I just noticed how much better people were feeling. So they started learning these movements, and I noticed with them is they were able to manage their stress quite well. Their health improved, and as I heard your earlier guest speak, is that community involvement. But the better you're feeling, the more you want to do. And part of the secret of health and longevity is being and helping others.
I love that. Well said.
Thanks.
Well said. You have essentially launched a program I want to go through with your permission and kind of take on some of the bullets and let you explain a little bit about them. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about keys to quality living, and you start with nutrition and its importance. Explain.
Yeah, some time ago it was brought to my attention that they've actually identified a formula for quality life, longevity, but also with these four things: nutrition, exercise, meditation, and good people. Is not only can you have a quality of life, but you could possibly arrest, slow down, and avoid dementia altogether.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So if I understand you correctly,
yes,
proper nutrition, good balanced nutrition is essential to the good life.
It's essential, just like moving is. In today's society and technology, and just the other night, my girlfriend and I, we were dancing, country dancing, and there was like 70 men in there, and this is not elderly people, this is middle-aged and younger and maybe older, but of all the men, they had slumped shoulders, they were pale, overweight, and you can see that their activity is sitting. And I don't say this out of judgment, bad judgment. I say this because this is one of the things that has motivated me to take what I do public, is that our bodies, our minds, our spirit was meant to move.
There are only maybe a handful of people I've known in my lifetime who somehow found real balance to their life. You're one of them.
Well, thank you.
I'm not quite sure how one achieves that, but could you help give us just maybe a thumbnail sketch of how one achieves balance in their life?
I certainly will. We need to stop thinking that things like balance is an achievement. balance is always an experience. We don't achieve balance, we experience it. So every moment of our lives, as you know, Sam, is a challenge. But once we start learning how to be in the moment, just in the moment, then we can find peace, even in the most difficult times.
But correct me if I'm wrong here, Rick. It seems like these are, it's not like the best of times, these are the worst of times. We're living in the worst of times.
Yes,
We've
we
got
are.
people fighting among themselves who ordinarily would be neighbors, politicians that should be holding hands and saying, let's do what's right for the country.
Right.
Instead of, you can just hang out there and die because we're not going to help.
Yes, they're acting like we have.
There are things going on here that don't work.
No.
How do we help them find balance?
We start with ourselves. That's key. We start with ourselves. For sure, I'm going to kind of bounce ahead a little bit, but anxiety in our society, and the way I see it is that we're in a cycle of trauma, compounded trauma. We're in such a traumatic state, especially in our culture, that it's like a cloud. And this traumatic state has been here with us for so long with such intensity. We are in a cloud and we think it's normal. So all emotions are good. Anxiety is good when we experience it and it's a signal for growth. But there's something external anxiety. And that's where we aren't resolving these stressors and stresses. Is that unresolved anxiety is we take out on others, just like what you described with our politicians. Unresolved anxiety can take the form of shaming, being judgmental, divisiveness, uncooperative, intolerant. So I think that our leaders are an examples. They are symptoms of our sickness in society.
So anxiety can be both healthy and unhealthy, can it?
Yes, if anxiety is harming yourself and harming anyone else, then that's unhealthy anxiety. And just taking a moment for us to reflect on how we're feeling instead of acting out where it's causing harm to ourselves or others. But I do want to mention, Sam, I think there's a cure for this.
I'm listening.
Well, as corny as it sounds, I believe it 100%. First, love yourself. Second, love others. And third, be kind. That's simple.
Very simple. Very simple. Well, let me take you back to this this pandemic's. I think you call it the cycle of trauma, because that is in effect what we're going through.
Yes.
Just we get to the edge, the precept, we think, hey, wait, you know what? We're making progress, and then bam, we get hit with another version.
Yes.
And everybody goes, oh, good Lord, come on.
Yeah.
That's the battle we're all fighting, and that's the one we should be united on.
Yes.
And yet we don't seem to be uniting on it.
No, so many of our leaders, they're acting and maybe even pretending like we have all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And we don't.
And we don't. So I say for this cycle of trauma, learn ways to step outside it. And by learning ways to step outside of trauma, that's loving yourself, be kind, helpful to others, but step out of it. How's this for an idea, Sam? Start having some fun. Start learning and doing more ways for relaxation.
I could work with that.
And how about meditation? Meditation is so confused, people think it's religious and this and that. No way. Meditation is like an undivided thought or focus on any subject, sound, mantra. But, even dancing, ballroom dancing, that can be a form of meditation. And as so many people know, fishing's a form of meditation. So
now you're speaking my language.
I'm telling you, we've got all this stuff going on that we have no control over, but you do have control over you. You can decide today to take some time out, have fun, relax, meditate, and start enjoying life. in spite of these people who don't seem to know what they're doing in our government.
Rick,
Yeah.
something you just tapped on there, fishing. I fly fish. I love to fish for trout,
Yeah.
but it is the only fishing sport I know where it doesn't matter if you don't catch anything.
Nope.
It's in the rhythm of the rod and the line, and if everything goes just right,
Yes.
something clicks, and it's one of the most peaceful feelings I've ever experienced.
And Sam, you just asked me at the beginning of the show, how do we find that peace? How do we accomplish it? We don't accomplish it, we experience it. So if you want more peace, you're going to have more fun, more relaxation, good nutrition, and very importantly, we need people, being around people.
Rick, how important is helping others?
Well, it's one of the strongest medicines you can give yourself. I once advised a student for their daughter who was depressed and just staying at home and sitting on the couch. And I suggested, well, why don't you ask her to get up and do something for someone else? That's a cure for depression right there.
So simple.
So simple.
Yet so hard and so difficult for so many people. We got about a minute and a half. I want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
You say, and you have stressed, never stop finding ways for being good to others or bringing good to others.
Yes.
I get the feeling that that's critical to your mantra. Am I right?
Yes. You know, there's old studies, we know this, is that, you know, women quite often live longer than men. But what they found out, the reason why, is that women tend to have more to look forward to. So, hey guys, if you want to live longer, start doing like what the lady does. Look forward to life.
Makes perfect sense to me. You teach these things in Tai Chi Kung Fu, do you not, at your academy?
It fits, yes.
Well, here's hoping that this program will get you a few more customers in, because quite frankly, I think you've offered us the key to some problems and bumps in the road that we need to all address.
I would never get tired of addressing this. And Sam, you look great, and I'm so glad to see you today.
Good to see you, my friend, and we will talk again. Thank you, Rick, for coming by.
Thank you.
You're a good man. I don't care what anybody says.
And the same for you.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for this edition of Perspectives, and we'll see you back here next time.